So this Raiders game, Brock Bowers absolutely killed us. And I remember listening to a Mel Kiper radio show. This is like when Brock Bowers was just coming out of high school. Mel Kiper was saying Brock Bowers is going to be a monster in college. He's going to be a monster in the pros. The guy is just a physical freak.
Mm-hmm.
And that played out on Sunday. Brock Bowers absolutely killed us. He was basically the Raiders' entire offense. So you know what, Steve, I'll start with you on this. Give me your initial thoughts on the game.
Well, I had him in fantasy, so it was definitely bittersweet. He brought me to a win, and we still won. So all in all, I was happy about it. Bowers, 13 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He set tight end records for a rookie, and then he also had a carry for -3 yards. So that was definitely pretty nice to see us tackle him in the backfield one time. But other than that, I mean, he's the next big thing as the tight end. Like, you had your Travis Kelce era, you had your Rob Gronkowski era. Back in the day, we had, Tony Gonzalez, Mark Chimura, like all kinds of, great tight ends, cool tight ends that were fun to watch. He's going to be the next big one that everybody's going to have their eyes on for a long time to come. If you have a dynasty league and you don't have him, good luck.
Yeah. I misdrafted him by 1 pick.
Ooh.
He wasn't even on my radar, honestly, because by and large, and Sam Laporta last year notwithstanding, by and large, rookie tight ends don't do much in the NFL. So he wasn't really even on my radar. And to see him go off like this, I might have to reconsider my stance on rookie tight ends, because this is
well, this is not the norm.
No.
We're talking about 2 anomalies in the last 2 decades. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
Anthony, give me your initial thoughts on the game.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at my notes, and the entire first half, it's negative comment. Lots of negative comments, followed by end of half sequence was a play calling disaster in all caps. And then the second half gets much better. It's much brighter. It's much happier. This was a very I wouldn't say up and down game. It was a down and up game. We started off really slow. To be up 10-6 at halftime, I really expected I expected our game would be more like the Lions versus Jaguars, where they were up like 28-6 at halftime. I thought that's what we were going to do here. So to only be up 10-6 at halftime bugged me a little bit, but the team really clamped down in the second half, got things done. Offense still looks great. Defense still has a lot of work to do. We'll talk plenty about that in jockstraps, I have a feeling. But man, no Ingold again really kills the running game. Like, the running game, it's just non-existent without him. I know that somehow Achane managed a good day, but man, just watching, it's almost like the offensive line doesn't know how to block unless Ingold is in there. Because every time they ran the ball, it wasn't like one guy who was the rusher who Ingold would normally pick. No, it was like 3 defensive linemen who just went right past their offensive linemen. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that really stood out to me. And then Chop really stood out to me again. Like, I know I'm keeping an eye on him now because I want him to succeed.
Bold prediction. Your bold
and he's my bold prediction, which is absolutely failing miserably, by the way.
I don't know. Hey, we'll talk about him later.
Statistically, he had a forgettable day, but impact-wise, he was in Gardner's face all day. I mean, it was. Yeah. He is getting much better at the moves. Every move too. It's not just one or another. Like, he is really, really catching on.
Yeah, and to your point about Chop and Josh's point about Chop, we got into it. We chopped it up, so to speak.
Oh, Jesus!
I know. I know. You know what? I'll see myself out, guys. No, we chopped it up a few weeks ago, where it was Steve and I kind of panning the Chop pick, and Anthony, you and Josh were kind of you're hyping it up, and I still don't love the pick when they made it, but you know what? Chop has been. His get off is unbelievable. His get off the line is he can. It's up there with Jason Taylor, honestly, as some of the one of the best get-offs I've ever seen. And he's really starting to, like you said, get those pass rushing moves together. And man, if he puts it together, he is going to be a monster. So
he's just like Jalen. I feel like it took Jalen Phillips a couple years before we finally saw the impact. Like, and we could see he was good. He was fast. He was quick off the line. Like, but he just wasn't getting the plays, right? He wasn't getting in on the play. I feel it's the same thing with Chop. Like, he's not in on the play a ton, but he's making an impact.
Yes. And I think that was a big reason why. That was a big reason why they threw to Brock Bowers as often as they did, because the underneath routes that Brock Bowers was running, Gardner knew he had to get the ball out fast. Otherwise, Chop was going to be on him. So he kind of threw to Brock Bowers out of necessity more than anything. And the fact that he was always open, that helps.
I will point out on this one, last thing I'll say before we you go to the next guy. If Gardner happens to not be with the Raiders next year, I know a team that could use a backup.
Yes.
And
I love Gardner.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a superstar. Pell, I don't even know if he's good, but he is better than anything we had at backup this year.
You know what? Him throwing that interception at the end of the game to try to win is what we wanted our backups to at least do. You know, that he at least, I mean, granted, we're not happy still, but he's at least doing all he can do. You know what I mean?
He had a really good game too.
He did.
I mean,
he did. He balled out. I mean, Brock Bowers balled out for him, but he made good decisions on getting it to Brock Bowers. So
he's just scrappy. Like he's a guy who takes chances. He's scrappy. He's a playmaker.
Yeah.
And that's
and he's made it to a Super Bowl. We can't say that. I mean, not for nothing.
True. That's true. No, I mean, look, if Gardner Minshew is our backup quarterback this season, we're winning one of the Colts games or the Titans games.
I think we're winning both of those.
Yeah.
Hands down.
We're winning a couple of those games while Tua was on the mend. You're obviously not going to survive if Tua goes down with a season-ending injury. But if you're going to ask your backup quarterback to go in for 4 games, you want him to go 2-2, and Gardner Minshew can get you that. So I agree. If he's available in the offseason, the Dolphins need to pounce. They need to do better at backup quarterback.
Hey, they had Mike McDaniel mic'd up, and he was talking good stuff to Gardner over there. He was telling him he loved his game, so I don't know.
And Max Crosby. Could you imagine Max Crosby on this team?
Oh man.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
I love it. I would give up anything.
Would you give up Chop? No, just kidding.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Josh, give me your initial thoughts on this game, man.
Yeah, I mean, to Anthony's point, I think this was a tale of two halves, right? I think it was very even-keeled, if you will, for a game in the first half. I mean, and for both teams. And I think in the second half, the better team played better, in my opinion. Just my opinion. That's not a shade. That's not to shade, Las Vegas. I think the Raiders have 1 or 2, maybe 3 really decent pieces, but one of those decent pieces was injured and not on the field, and a former Miami Dolphin. And I think you saw the talent deficiency, right? I think you saw a team that was full of talent and starting to find its traction versus a team that fired all of its coaches and put in a new quarterback and don't have wide receivers and fed their tight end at a historical rate. I think they targeted him 18 or 19 times. There's 20 or something ridiculous like that. And they game planned in 12 personnel, which for those that don't know is two tight end sets, and said, we're going to pick a player and we're going to force feed that player until the other team figures out how to stop him, which we couldn't do. And which is fine. I mean, look, if we get beat by a tight end for a shit ton of yards, a bunch of yards and we still win the game, we did our job, in my opinion, right? I will say this. I am thoroughly enjoying the new Miami Dolphins in the sense that we're stringing together long drives for the first time since I can remember. 14 plays, 70 yards, over 8 minutes. 16 plays, 52 yards, again, over 8 minutes. 14 plays, 97 yards, over 8 minutes. 10 plays, 60 yards, over 6 minutes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was that all game. And let me tell you something. This is playoff football.
Yeah.
What we were showing last year was amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was all flash. It was all Ferraris and Porsches. It was amazing. But when you need to string together against a team like, and I know we did it against the Raiders, so let's call a spade, but this shows that we can do it. And this is the type of offense we need to run against a team like, for example, Buffalo.
Yeah.
You keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, you give us a chance at winning. And I thought it was amazing. I will say this, Tua being efficient as ever, it is so refreshing to have a quarterback leading this team that knows what he's doing. This is his now third week in a row, completing over 74% of his passes. He took 2 sacks. Dude needs the next thing he needs to evolve in is to learn how to throw the ball away. That is his next thing, right? But as you've said, Keith, as you've said, Anthony, as you said, Steve, on various aspects of Tua, every single chance that he can learn and improve, he takes it. I can't imagine him not continuing that, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah. Hold on to the dang ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like you said, Josh, it was all Porsches and Ferraris last year. It was big plays, big play after big play after big play. You can't rely on the big play to sustain your offense. You need to be able to put together those long drives. You need to be able to, against the Bills, to your example, you need to be able to put together those long drives, if for no other reason than to keep Josh Allen the frick on the sideline.
And give your defense a breather for a change.
Yeah. So, it was nice to see them, again, take what the defense gives them. Because these days, the defense isn't giving up those big plays. The defense is playing two high safeties. We're not going to let Tyreek run past us. Okay, fine, fair enough. We're going to matriculate, as Hank Stram said for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to matriculate the ball down the field, and that's the Dolphins.
Absolutely. Let me ask you guys a question, and I don't think it's too wild to say this for as early as this player is in his career. Achane comparable to CMC? From a skill set standpoint and a production standpoint? I know it's early. He's not a Pro Bowler. I get it. But if he continues the trajectory that he is on from a usage standpoint and a target standpoint, I cannot imagine a player that compares to CMC like he does. That's currently in the league.
I can see what you're saying personally, but my biggest issue with Achane is you can't give him the volume that the Dolphins have been giving him.
Yeah. That's true.
You need to kind of, and I understand he's their best back. He's their most explosive weapon, especially in the backfield. But you need to find a way to work Raheem Mostert in a little bit more than you have been the last 2 weeks. Same goes for Jalen Wright. I know they've been giving him carries every now and then, but Achane's been the man back there. And if you give him too many carries, he's only 190 pounds. He's going to break down.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You know who I would love to see paired? I'm a huge no fan. Don't get me wrong, and this is no shade on him, but could you imagine, and I forgot, Alshon Jeffrey, the BYU running back that's like
Gianti. Ashton Gianti, yeah.
Could you imagine him with Achane in our backfield?
Oh, I know. I know. But who I'd like to see? A guy like Brandon Jacobs for the Giants. A thunder and lightning kind of combination. That they have going on.
I think
who's the running back for Detroit?
David Montgomery.
Yeah. Like that kind of back too would be cool.
All right, let's go to the chat here real quick. We have True Fan checking in. Finally on time. Can't remember if I said 20. Yeah, you said something around those lines. Yeah. I mean, in your defense,
I have it written down.
We all pretty much by and large agreed with you there. So yeah, we had about the same scores, all of us.
I don't have it written down. I lied.
I've always said this team was built wrong. If they built a team that played a double tight end style with heavy running, you can't play Tua like Marino. Okay.
You say this a lot, True Fins fan. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't know about you, Keith, but this is an old school style of football that just doesn't really work so much anymore. I mean, the Lions are making it work this year to kind of prove me wrong. But the past, we don't see it work a ton anymore, is what I should say. You need really good players at those positions for that to work.
Yeah, and the NFL is cyclical to an extent. You have Alec Ingold kind of playing the Daryl Johnston role on the 90 Cowboys. Moose Johnston. And that's great. And that being said, we need to be able to, maybe it is double tight end sets. I don't know. But we need to be able to figure out a way.
We barely have one tight end.
I mean, we have one good tight end, and who else?
Yeah. We need to be able to figure out how to run the ball without Alec Ingold on the field.
Well, that's not going to happen.
That's
not going to happen.
That's our biggest obstacle right now. I think Ingold's coming back this week, mercifully.
Thank God. Yes.
And if he is, we're likely going to see them run the ball the way they did in the games prior to his injury.
Yeah, I'd like to get an Amber Alert out for Raheem Mostert because it's terrifying. I've never seen a fall off like this before in my life.
Well,
I mean,
he's been
ever.
benched. I mean, that's
well,
what
they benched him
Shad
2
thing.
games. Yeah.
The Joe Shad thing was talking about, and somebody else from one of the Dolphins beat reporters was writing it out too. He's essentially been moved to the RB3 behind right. So it's Achane, right, and then Mostert, which
no,
I don't know if
I get it.
I don't know if I fully agree with that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah,
no, I don't. But I get it with all the fumbles and I fine. But make them earn it, make them earn a spot back. But I've never seen somebody break NFL records one year.
Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
multiple categories, and then what does he have, like 300 yards all year total?
Yeah,
in receiving and rushing.
Yeah,
like that's insane to me.
Yeah, I called him all the way off this year. Like I was so high on Mostert to start the season, and I couldn't have been more wrong about anything else.
Yeah,
he was still running like a superstar. He just couldn't hold on to the ball.
I mean, he's still running hard. He's still hitting the holes, and I think we haven't seen the last of Raheem Mostert this season.
No.
But after those 2 huge fumbles against the Bills and the Colts, you set him down for a little bit because those fumbles legitimately cost us games. I mean, I don't want to overstate. I don't want to overstate it, but I legitimately those were bad fumbles at the worst possible times. True Fin Fan says Devon Achane is very similar to Marshall Faulk, same number and everything.
Yeah.
Split touch receptions, his vision is off the charts. Yeah, don't run like he's Earl Campbell. Absolutely. I think it's a great comparison, True Fin Fan.
That's a perfect comparison. Yeah.
It's exciting to have a player like that in a team. I mean, he's really come on hard and fast.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying instead of Tyreek and Waddle, we should have drafted 2 athletic, fast tight ends. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think we all understand what you're saying, but the problem is, where are you going to get these guys? These fast, athletic tight ends that you speak of. There's not a lot of them out there. I mean, we have
especially where we drafted the last couple of years. You're not trading up for a tight end. You're just in the first round. You're not doing that.
Right. If Brock Bowers would have dropped to us in the draft, then I think we would have probably taken it.
I mean, the last time I checked, this team scored 70 points last year. I mean, the offense hasn't been the problem.
And we've broken since Tua's come back. We're over 20.
Record.
Well, no, but we're over 25, 24 points per game. We just had our first 30-point game since Washington last year.
Yeah,
and statistically we're the second most efficient team all season.
We broke some sort of yardage record too because somebody mentioned it to McDaniel and he had his classic smart aleck response. Really? He was like, "Oh, good. I was hoping to have some weird 5-game sample record-breaking performance."
Yeah, I thought it was cool though that we were the second most. So we were the most efficient team all season until Detroit ended their game, and then they took that spot over.
Okay. It's great to see what they're doing. I think even without the double tight ends and even without Alec Ingold, we're still getting it done, which is a testament to McDaniel, who's come under fire this year. It's a testament to Tua. It's a testament to the entire offense, the offensive line.
Weaver.
So, yeah.
I mean, I know he had
I don't know if this is going to be somebody's jockstrap, but I just want to say one more thing. It's Durham Smith and Julian Hill. I don't know where you learned to block, but you're both really, really bad at being a lead blocker in the run game.
They're bad.
I hope to never see you there again.
They're just bad. I don't think there's any. They're not bad in any category. They're bad in all categories.
But specifically lead,
Yeah.
like if you watch them as a lead blocker, and
They
most
look
of the
lost.
time they have no vision for who they're supposed to block. Half the time they miss the block. Maybe it's because every time they are the lead blocker, they're in motion for some reason. It's just not working. Every play that I saw that one of those two being responsible for the lead block got absolutely blown up. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another position in the offseason I'd like to see us, like the backup quarterback position. I'm assuming if we don't re-up John, I know he's on for another year. If we don't re-up him, which I think we should, I think he's a perfect scheme fit to this offense, assuming no mass changes are happening, right? I mean, we're all rainbows and sunshines right now, but it's been a rough season. So assuming that no changes are made, John was a perfect fit, but I'd really love to see a tight end 2 come in that compliments him.
Yeah, that'd be great. And there was plenty of them in this past draft, and
tons.
And I scouted tight ends extensively because I thought the Dolphins were going to draft one of them in the draft, and guys like Cade Stover, and there's a guy on the Bills, Naheem something,
Hines.
What's that? No, not Hines, Naheem something. But no, there's guys that Naheem Bell. There's been guys that I scouted that I've seen scattered across the NFL. They're rookies. They're not getting a lot of playing time, but they're getting a catch every now and then. They're on running plays. This is something the Dolphins need to address this offseason.
Yep.
That being said, Julian Hill did have a couple of catches in this game.
Stop it. Stop it right now.